And good afternoon. Welcome, everyone, to Tilson Live. This is our fourth installment this year.
Yeah.
All right. So welcome, everyone. Come on in. We can't wait to have a conversation with you about all things building on your land. I am your humble host, co-host, one of the hosts, Eric Allard, Senior Vice President of Tilson Homes. We are a family-owned and operated on-your-land home builder, headquartered and operating exclusively in the Republic of Texas. Excuse me, the state of Texas. And I'm joined this week, as I am every week, by our highly capable and overqualified co-host, Mrs. Dawn Dancer, Tilson Homes Director of Marketing. Say hello, Dawn.
Hi, everybody.
All right. So everybody, tell us where you are watching from. We can't wait to get to know you a little bit better. We're excited. We love hearing about where you are. I really want to find a place. It'll be a challenge one of these weeks, Dawn.
Okay.
A place, ideally in Texas, that I haven't heard of.
All right.
That would be a challenge.
See, we've got Blue Ridge.
Yep, we're good on Blue Ridge, Texas. No problem. That's North Texas. Melissa Sales Park all day.
All right. Markham,
Las Texas.
Vegas.
Yeah, Matagorda County. Yeah, we got that. Las Vegas.
Blooming Grove.
Blooming Grove may carry the day. I don't think I know exactly. Without searching Google, I'm not going to cheat, folks. Without searching, I don't think I know where Blooming Grove is, if it is in fact in Texas. Fort Worth, we definitely got. Salina, we got. Lake Jackson, we got. Lavernia, we got. For sure, I know where those are. Yeah, Cookeville, I know where that it is. Never heard of it. Austin?
Yeah, I don't know that one.
Not sure about that. Hondo, Texas, beautiful. All right, so everybody jump in here. Tell us where you're watching from. We are super excited today. Garwood, Texas, of course. That's down the El Campo way, headed out south of 59. Come on, folks. We can. Anyway, doing great. It is Texas.
It is in Texas.
So Blooming Grove is.
Blooming Grove wins.
I get down. I got to put it on there. I'm sure it's a speed trap I have not been subjected to yet. Yep, Spring Branch, Texas. We got two spring branches, actually. One out in the hill country outside San Antonio. The other one, actually, in Houston, there's a place called Spring Branch inside Houston.
Oh, interesting. We definitely use Spicewood.
Spicewood, Texas. Oh, yeah. We have two of our former execs that live in Spicewood. 40-plus year veterans in us, of course. So
Mark's back from Germany again. Thanks
for
watching,
All right, Mark. We know you're in Germany. He's bringing our window questions with him.
Got San Antonio, more Houston.
Absolutely. All right. So, folks, I see YouTube joined us, which is good. So, y'all come on in, grab you a cup of coffee, get ready to sit down and talk about all things building on your land. If you're working from home, now's a great time to take a break from all the stress of your job and just think about.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're taking a break. And think about where you're going to be living in the future when you put all this behind you. Oh, Tony Mead from Lake Travis. Heard of that guy.
I don't know him. I don't know
that guy. Yeah. Tony, let us know if you're actually in a wetsuit right now on Lake Travis. It's a little chilly. Saginaw, good spot. Know where that is. Good old North Texas folks. So, all right. Now, be sure, because Dawn's going to, what are you going to be doing? Is this the chat? We just delete the chat? What do we do with the chat?
We just completely ignore it. Now we're done with it. We're looking at the chat, so we're gonna capture everybody's questions and make sure that we answer you. If you think I skipped you, post it again because it means I missed it. But we do also go back after the live is over and make sure that we review every single comment and respond to them. So
most definitely.
So questions in.
Ask all your questions in the chat. We are talking specifically today. We haven't done this since March. We figured out. Is that right?
Right. We actually did this as our very first live at the beginning of doing this for you guys, and so we thought it might be time to kind of go back because we've got some new people that we've picked up and just kind of re-review it and do a basic building on your land overview.
Wonderful. Okay, so yes, just broad brush. What is build on your land? How does it differ? What should you know? What questions do you need to ask? And again, obviously, we'd love to get a chance to talk to you here at Tilson Homes, but whether you build with us or not, this information is going to be useful to you. So This information is out there. We don't gate it. What does that mean when we say we don't gate it, Dawn? What do we mean by that?
It means we don't require you to register. You can join us live at any point. We're not asking you to tell us who you are or give us your email address and let us follow up with you forever. We want to have it kind of open and available for everybody. So even on weeks when you can't catch us live, you can go back to our YouTube or our blog or here on Facebook and watch it again.
That's right. We don't charge for it. You don't have to give us your information. We're just grateful that you're here and you're learning something, and you take that away with you to make your experience, regardless of what you end up doing, a better experience. We genuinely believe the best buyers out there, the best customers out there, the ones that have the best experience are the highest educated ones when it comes to the subject matter. So I don't mean like they went to Harvard. I don't think that. I mean, they know the most about the whole subject. So that's what we're talking about. So our goal is really to just kind of let you know what questions to ask. So even if you don't choose Tilson, obviously our content's going to be geared to what we do because we know it best the way that we do it. But just want to give you guys information on it, and whether you choose us or not, you'll know what kind of to talk about when you're talking with your builders. That's what we're here. And speaking of Harvard, I went to Harvard on the Brazos, which is just it's very close to College Station, Texas. But yeah, it's Harvard on the Brazos. You'd have to, you had to be there. It's an interesting place. All right. So,
saying thank you.
Well, thank you. Thanks for watching.
And David also says he really appreciates the information. So we are glad to be here.
Okay. All right. So let's get to the content matter, shall we? So building on your land. We've got a lot of information. Again, post all your questions, comments, concerns, things you'd like talked about to the chat. We will go through the presentation. We'll break at certain intervals, and we'll answer those questions, and we will get through this material. It's really, really good stuff that we've put together because, again, we've been doing this for the better part of a century. How long have we been doing this? Almost 90 years. 90 years.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Lord willing, if we make it, that'll be our 90th anniversary. So we've been doing this a long time. So with respect to building on your land, this is kind of what we know best, better than anybody, certainly in the state of Texas and arguably in the country. So we've been doing this a long time. We've built tens of thousands of homes on other people's land, not just in subdivisions, on other people's land.
It's very important because it's very different.
Probably nearly 140 counties across the state total that we've built in. So over half of the state of Texas we have built. All right. So what in the world does building on your land mean? Well, obviously it's yours. It's not ours. It's not our property. We had little or zero to do with the procurement of that property. You fell in love with that piece of property, or your family fell in love with it and is now giving you part of it. But it could mean a lot. It could mean a small lot. It could mean a larger tract of land. It could be a farm. It could be a ranch. This could be a second home, an investment property. Potentially, you could something that you're buying and building now. You're going to go enjoy the place on the weekends with the kids or grandkids, and then eventually you're going to retire out there. So, or it could be on a body of water. But the end of the day, it's yours. So it's your choice exactly where you want to spend the rest of the amount of time, whether it's forever home or a couple of years or whatever. So what in the world do you need to know, Dawn, when you first think about building on your own land?
Well, you've got to start thinking about, what you need in your home. So, Eric talked a lot about what you want to use the home for. So as you're thinking that through, kind of define, what kind of spaces you need, and what that budget's going to be. Then you want to find your land if you don't have it already, and make sure that you have the deed to the property and that everything is good and free and clear. And then you're going to be, looking to choose a builder, work together with that builder to plan out the home. Ideally, please don't go and Google floor plans, actually talk to the builder, because you're going to find a lot of strange things out there on the internet that may not necessarily work in Texas, or that the builder you're working with may not be able to do. So make sure you're working with the builder as you're planning out that home. Then you're going to sit with the builder and review, your contracts, your final plans, and figure out financing. How are you going to pay for it? Is there going to be any type of construction financing required, or are you able to just secure that final mortgage? Then you'll go through construction, and then you'll have, your completion, your closing, and your warranty.
Beautiful, beautiful. I notice a lot of stuff is happening prior to this, the big C word of construction here. So,
yes.
we're going to talk about that, because this is all stuff. These first 4 points are kind of all things that happen already before you ever show up in a production subdivision. All that stuff is kind of buttoned up. For sure, the first 2. And so we're going to take you through how you make the rest of these things happen prior to construction. By the way, I did look up Blooming Grove, Texas. It's in Navarro County on Highway 22 between Corsicana and Hillsboro. So whoever's Blooming Grove, you win the day. You found the place that Eric had not specifically heard of. But we certainly do build a bunch in Navarro County. It's actually our number 3 county in the state right now, which is awesome.
Very cool.
So let's see, space definition configuration. So going into defining the needs and budget, where do you even begin? Budget matters. Obviously, it's going to kind of drive the whole process. What are you willing to spend, or what are you comfortable spending? Whether that's a cash transaction, a lump sum, or if it is a monthly payment, which is what most people are going to be concerning with. So then elevation and design. Now, Don, on elevation, are we talking about like how many feet above sea level? What do we mean when we talk about elevation in home building?
When you hear a builder use the word elevation, they're talking about the actual outside style of your home. So when we use the word elevation, we're talking about that exterior. So what does that look like? Is it stone? Is it brick? Is it hardy? Board and batten? What are you looking for on the outside?
Beautiful. And then are you looking at a single story, multi-story design? Do you have any special requirements? So ACC, we throw some of these abbreviations or acronyms around. It's Architectural Control Committee. Is there an entity that has some input or restrictions on what you can or can't build? So for instance, it has to be 2,000 square feet of heated and cool living area. It has to be 60 or 80 or 100% masonry. Those kinds of things. And then do you want some kind of handicap or universal design, aging in place accessibility, so grab bars, ramps, that kind of stuff. Those play into it. What will the home be used for? Is it an investment property? Is it lakefront? Is it, trying to look on the back? Is a view to the front? Who's going to be using the home? Is this going to be, a growing family? Is it empty nesters? Is it, are you making an Airbnb? We got some folks building Airbnbs out there with us. Particularly the hill country folk, and also down on the coast. And then budgeted cost for the project. Obviously, that's going to be a big driver. What you and your family are prepared to spend. Planning, Don. What in the world goes into planning the home?
A lot of things go into planning. So we have several plans that you can choose from, and hopefully you're working with a builder who does have kind of a plan database that you can start with. I did mention you could look on the internet. Don't get too attached, because some of those things on those like eplans.com and those kinds of websites are designed for Vermont, and they're not going to work in Texas. So,
Vermont, I'm sure it's very pretty.
Take a look and, see what kind of plans you have. Bring in your own ideas to kind of talk to your builder. And like I was saying, make use of the plan library. Tilson has an extensive one. A lot of other builders do as well. And really why you want to look at that is because they're designed by professionals. So they've already taken into account that there's enough room in the island for your dishwasher to open, things like that. And knowing the codes and everything in the area, we know it's going to pass standards. We also have available to you some pre-designed structural changes. So if you don't like the home exactly like you see it, we have, custom options that you can do pre-designed, again, to know that everything's going to work together. But if you don't like that still, and there's something else that you'd like to change, we can help you navigate through all of that and make whatever other changes you want. And then the last one, which is something that is kind of unique to Tilson, so something to ask if you're talking to another builder, look for someone who's going to give you an upfront contract price. So who's going to tell you before they even start construction, this is exactly how much your home is going to cost. Some things to be careful of is if you see any language in contracts like allowances or cost plus, that's putting the burden on you as the buyer to pay if the builder underestimated. That's right. How much something was going to cost you.
Yeah, and check for another one's cost overruns. Cost overruns is another one to be work. The same thing. What that means, particularly with what lumber prices are doing, that builder could actually go up on that price if once they're under construction, if the price does in fact go up. So something to definitely keep in mind. The upfront contract price is obviously the way we recommend going, and that's how we do business, so that our customers have that security of knowing that they're kind of in and good to go. So floor plans, when you're looking at floor plans online, you won't be typically looking at quite as detailed as this. So this is what we refer to as a work copy. So it's not a highly detailed. It's detailed enough. It's typically to scale, but it what our sales consultants and design consultants can work with as they're walking you and your family through the changes you want to make. And it gives us room dimensions. We can add footage or delete footage, things like that. So this is what we're talking when we talk about floor plan. This is what we're referring to. This is a first floor plan. Now Dawn's gone to great lengths to make sure that we can show you different things. So we got a first floor here. We got second floor. So this kind of gives a rough outline of what the first floor is. So we have a lot of questions that come up. Can we add a bonus room on the such and such plan or on this and that plan? This is a great example of being able to show you guys of, obviously this one is designed with a bonus room, so that's good. But, how is it going to lay out over the first floor? Where are the stairs going to go? These are things that we have to consider when you're talking about just throwing a second floor up somewhere. Right. You need to have the head clearance. Otherwise, see what actually happened. I didn't go bald. I hit my head on designed bonus rooms. We're designed. No, this is something to consider because you do have to have that head clearance as you're coming up those stairs. There is a code requirements. Each step has a certain height it can be. So those are all things we have to consider when you're just going to put a second floor up. Right. And then going back to Don's comment about an elevation. So when we're talking about elevations in the home building world or an architect world, we're referring to what does a building look like from a particular side. So this happens to be a front elevation. So but there's front elevations, there's side elevations, there's rear elevations. There's also cabinet elevations. So what a cabinet wall is going to look like from a particular side. So anyway, that's when we're talking about elevations, we're usually talking about what does something look like when you're looking at it from the side. There are such things as elevation certificates, which have to do with floodplain, but we deal with that in a different Tilson Live. So if you haven't seen it, go click on that one. I'm not going to do the click up here for the video yet. We're not quite there because I don't know where I'm pointing to. But anyway, there is information about that, and that has to do with elevation. So before we get into Make It Yours, Dawn, should we address some of these questions that appear to be stacking up?
Yes, let's pause for some questions. Okay. So Armand is asking, is the buyer involved in the sign-off of the building stages?
Oh, Armand, yes. Actually, not only are not only do we want you to be, you're actually required by contract to be, which is the beautiful part about it. So because it is your land, we actually, as part of the agreement, the owner is agreeing to not just sign off on a full set of plans, what we call our options addendum or color selection chart. You're also going to sign in writing on where the house is being located on your land. Obviously, we're there to help you with that information, but at the end of the day, it's your house on your land. And so, yes, you're going to sign off on where it's located on your land, the colors that are selected, and actually every page of the plans. So first floor plan, second floor plan, front, side, rear elevations, electrical plan, cabinet details or elevations. So to say that you are involved in the sign off is an understatement. Yes, you're involved.
Awesome. Let's see. Keaton says, I heard a rumor that y'all are restyling the Shiloh plan. If that's true, when will the new plan be released? So yes, we are. As far as timing on that, I'm honestly not sure. Just because, we have a lot of customers and we are putting their needs ahead of kind of our portfolio redesign. So sometimes in the next couple years would be my guess at this point. But Keaton, if there's something in particular that you're looking to do to the Shiloh, come in. Our design consultants can help you, achieve whatever your vision is for that.
And we've built thousands of them. So.
Yes, absolutely.
No two are alike.
And then Carl was asking about those lumber costs that you were talking about earlier. Do we see them going up?
So lumber it's a commodity. So it comes out on a fairly regular. It's traded daily, obviously, but the random length is what we follow most closely. The industry follows as far as what contracts are going to be locked into for the following month. So it kind of goes up on a monthly basis. Right now, it goes up on a monthly basis. So yes, January we saw a massive increase, and we're already seeing a massive increase coming in February. So basically, until this COVID thing is under control, for those of you listening to this at a later time, this is the last week of January of 2021. So once that's under control and the mills can get back fully open with 3 shifts going where everybody can work closely together, and that's part of the struggle now. They've canceled some shifts, and the shifts they are doing, the people are 6, 10, 12, 15 feet apart. So it's taking longer to produce, to actually work in the mill, to make the tree into lumber. and then get that lumber loaded onto rail cars. And are the rail cars running at the same rate? Get the rail car down from Oregon, where it's coming from, down to where our distributor is or their rail yard. So anyway, all that to say, the supply chain is just really, really challenged right now, really strained, and demand, thankfully, is really high. People all over America, particularly in Texas, are building. So that's a good thing because interest rates are very low, which is good for the end buyer, the American consumer. So as long as demand is up and supply is down, it doesn't take a guy with a degree from Harvard on the brasses to tell you that lumber prices are probably going to keep going up for the foreseeable future, unfortunately.
Yes, absolutely. Lorenzi is asking, what's the best way to remove tree stumps, a grinder or an excavator?
I prefer excavator. I want it gone. So it pulls the roots and everything up and put it aside, and then backfill that with select fill and put it back in there. Grinder is better than nothing. If you're going to grind it down, it needs to be at least 2 feet below existing grade. But I mean, by the time you spend the time and money doing that, you could probably hire somebody with an excavator for a day, and they can pull out those stumps and be done with it. Have it all done. If you can get it all done in a day, it really can save you some money. So if you can have the trees marked, and in those cases, it's easiest just to not cut the tree down at all, at least not at first, because the weight of the tree can help pull that root up.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
Instead of trying to fight the root ball that's just down there. But if you're already cut, they can still get it out. Just takes a little more work for them.
Okay. Sarah is sharing that she just had her stakeout meeting this morning. Great experience. Can't wait to start building. So that's super exciting. Yep. Thanks for sharing. Tony is saying, what if you're on a free range acreage lot that has cows accessible to your site? Any precautions owners need to take before construction with consideration to the livestock?
Dawn, what do you think about that, about cows roaming around?
Yes, we are going to need to make sure that the cows are kind of contained and away from the expensive stuff, because the cows always seem to think that the most expensive thing on the property is the best back scratcher. They like to eat it. They like to chow down. So definitely talk with at your stakeout appointment and also with your builder about what kind of things need to be done, because there are stages that we will not complete if we haven't gotten the livestock contained and away from where the house is going in.
Yeah, we've actually had them knock columns over, or knock the masonry, the bricks off of a column before. The homeowner was convinced that our stonemason was doing a poor job, because he'd go out there on the weekend after we did the stone bases on the columns, and the stone would be like kind of falling over, or 2 of the stones would fell off, and our builder was just scratching his like, I don't know what's going on. And finally he went, and we didn't know it actually wasn't the homeowner's livestock, but the neighbor had 2 cows that had gotten out of their place, and would go over there in the evenings, and they'd scratch their backs on our nice area. Great service for scratching your back. A nice. And of course the mortar had not cured yet, so yeah, a 2,000-pound animal pushing against it was enough to knock it over.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, we got to have them fenced out. It doesn't have to be a fully done 5-strand barbed wire fence, but something temporary enough and enough of a deterrent to keep them out of there. Barbed wire is the best. But we have some really cool electrical. I don't like electrical. I like things that are going to hurt me that I can see. So barbed wire makes sense.
That's a good policy.
Yeah.
Let's see. Armand is asking, is the new tax base based on the completed cost or the mean values of the surrounding neighborhood?
So what they're going to do is actually up to your appraisal district. So whatever county appraisal district that you're in, the county tax assessor is going to go out and do the assessment, which is what that is. And in a lot of cases, it's done on kind of the other values of the surrounding area. But on new construction, they do tend to take they have a number that they use, a basis that they will use. But and of course, you can always contest those. You have a certain amount of time in Texas. They have to give you the proposed assessment, and then you have kind of a time frame to go and protest that amount. And of course, you have to take some data with you if you're going to do that. And
he's in Missouri City, so.
But he's looking to build in Horseshoe Bay. So 200 miles, typical customer. So he lives south of Houston. He's building out in the hill country.
Awesome. We do that a lot.
Yeah, beautiful. Horseshoe Bay is awesome. Go up 71, you're Llano County. They're pretty easy to deal with. And yeah, you're going to end up probably having to protest whatever it is, but because just that's where their revenue comes from, is from tax assessments, tax appraisal. So, but yeah, it's going to be done based on what's around there, but also new construction is going to get a little bit of a bump in value.
Okay, great. Let's see. Angel is asking, if I buy land for $100,000 and the appraisal comes in at $120,000, am I clear for the 10% equity required to begin building?
So, Angel, that depends on the price of the home. So that's the land, right? That's the land price. So you've if you pay $100,000 for a piece of property, you're probably great. That's up to $1 million home if you actually paid $100,000 cash for the lot. That would be 10%. That 10% number would be up to $1 million. So you're golden on anything that we would be comfortable building. And then it is not uncommon for land, particularly if a period of time has elapsed, for land to appraise for more than you bought it for. That's the beauty of land. They ain't making any more of it. It is a finite resource. So what it would depend on is if depend on the house price is what it would depend on. So if you still owed so maybe you can let us know if you still owe money on that $100,000 piece of property, then potentially it may not cover it, but only if you really had a really, really, really high balance on the $100,000 land.
Okay. Let's see. David has a question on foundations, and if he can request a pier and beam foundation for the floor plan he likes, preferably a conditioned crawl space.
I don't know about a conditioned crawl space. I don't think we've done one like that. We've certainly done crawl spaces. We've done pier and beam. We have a bit of an initiative right now to kind of revive that. It hasn't been but we're seeing it mainly requested in areas that are prone to flooding. Right. Where it's kind of being required that they want the finished floor of the home elevated 3, 4, 5 feet. Areas in
and have water able to go underneath it.
That's right. Yeah, water can convey or mitigate underneath the home. They don't want you building up a big pad that displaces more water. So that's really where we're seeing them most. But so we've got a little more detail. Yeah, we can request it. The engineer's going to take a look at it. It's not going to be less expensive. If anything, it's probably going to be a little more, particularly if you're talking about conditioning it.
Yeah, particularly conditioned space,
ledges and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, we can look at it.
Okay. Then we have a question about whether we can work with the site development engineer when the land still needs driveway and utilities.
Well, typically an engineer is not involved in that part of it. So what's typically involved, that's our site evaluator or stakeout superintendent that helps you out with that, kind of where things are going to lay out. We have a pretty good idea from doing all these homes all over, how far away a septic system needs to be, how far away the water well can be. We can use a laser, and now these days, you don't have to measure everything with a 300-foot tape. We can actually do lasers and see how far away things are, which is helpful. Anyway, so yes, we can still see what kind of, we are going to help you determine where your driveway is going to go, what needs to be done there, where the utilities are going to come in, how close they can be, where they can be stubbed out. They can't all be next to each other. There's code requirements to go along with that. So yeah, we absolutely help with all of that.
Okay. And Brandy is asking when we expect the canyon model to be completed. So.
Oh, what do you think, Dawn?
Early spring is my guess. Yeah.
I think we're going to be good then.
I think we're going to be good. The cabinets went in earlier this month, so we're moving along. And then a good segue question. John is asking how much he can customize a standard plan.
Great question, John. Dawn, how much can John customize his plan?
As much as you want. Whatever, let's see, I think Holly's phrase was best. Whatever is within the laws of physics, building code, and your budget is how we can change your house. Yeah. So let's take a look.
Let's pick up there. What have you built here, Dawn? What is this beautiful thing we're looking at?
So these are those pre-designed floor plan changes that we were talking about. We call them custom options. So if you go onto our website, these are actually embedded in most of our floor plans at this point. When you scroll down, you can actually see this little interface where across the top you pick which exterior you like, and then the floor plan changes to show you how that exterior changed, how those rooms are arranged, usually with porches. Things like that are what change. And then there are available options, things that you can change on there. So you're looking at stuff like a alternate master bath, adding in garages. This particular one has 3 different garages that we've pre-designed. If you don't like where we've placed them, we can also put them somewhere else for you. But this just gives you an idea of some of the things that we can do. And if you go to the next slide, there you go. So this one, we've selected some of those options. So adding in the side load garage. adding on an extended back porch, changing the ceiling treatment in the family room to have the beautiful box beams, putting a stepped ceiling in that master, and also changing the layout of the master bath. So there's just a lot of things that you can play with on the website to see what those changes look like. And you actually, even beyond that, we can show you can do changing of the exteriors of the home and actually play with colors and brick and stone and all of that. So just some things for you to play with to kind of help you envision what you want your home to look like.
Beautiful. So yeah, it's pretty well limitless. Again, we are going to try and help you do things that make sense. We do call people you're talking with sales consultants. So part of their job is to ask questions and consult you. Like, yeah, we can do that. Have you considered this? So what I would ask with that, again, regardless of who you end up working with, be open to the experience of who you're talking to, because they kind of been there and done that. And they may have thought of something or encountered something that you had not thought of yet. So be open-minded. That's all I would say.
Absolutely.
That's with all things, Dawn. Really? I mean,
yes.
Really, it's with all things. Be open-minded.
And I think we forgot to mention, if you are trying to figure out the outside of the home versus the floor plan of the home, start, honestly, folks, with the floor plan. Because making the outside look like what you want it to look like is a lot easier than making a ton of floor plan changes. Because as you start moving rooms around, it changes what the outside of the home is. So it's much easier for us to start with the floor plan you like, and we can add stone, we can add gables, we can do all those things that
bring us an idea of what you want the outside to look like, and that's actually the easiest part of the house to change.
Yeah.
So great feedback. And also, we get a question a lot about, how come I don't see a garage on the floor plan? And Dawn would answer that. I want to get back to it. What we found was some of our plans. We used to have garages shown on all the plans years and years ago. And when I was a sales consultant, actually, we'd be flipping through plans with someone back when you had to flip through plans with someone. There was the internet.
And we have one option for every plan. Yeah.
And so we'd see folks say, "Well, I like where the garage is. That plan doesn't work." When the reality is, like Dawn said, there's 3 or 4 places a garage can go on a home, or you can detach it and have it. So we decided, okay, look, let's take the garages off, because only about half of our customers end up building a home with an attached garage anyway, because again, they're on acreage, right?
Right.
So they usually have some type of a metal building or something like that they're going to use as their workshop or garage area. And it gives people a lot more flexibility. But every single plan that we have either already has the garage integrated in it, like your Wimberleys, your Fredericksburgs, your Breckenridges, LaSalle's, Driftwoods, or we have a place to at least 1 to 3 places where they typically go from a design standpoint. So every plan can have a garage. Mm-hmm. Just about every plan cannot have a garage, but not every plan. All right. Obviously, you have a lot of choices to make. The beautiful part is we help you with that. So we have designers that we bring in to actually help you. So third-party designers that are there to help you, walk you through these color selections. So it's not so overwhelming, because there are a lot. I mean, there's cabinet colors, countertops, plumbing fixtures, light fixtures, door hardware, cabinet hardware, ceiling fan blade color, for goodness sakes, like lots of stuff, window color. Yeah. So we help you through all of that. It's super exciting. It's a lot of fun. And a lot of customers just really enjoy that part of the process.
Well, what's also nice with us is it's all in one place. Because I have built a home in the past that was not the case, and you were running to one guy for the floor and hoping that maybe it matched up with the countertops that you picked out somewhere else, and you're kind of building your house, crossing your fingers because you can't actually see them all together. So it's nice that within every single one of our offices we have this design center with all of our options in front of you.
No doubt, yeah, absolutely. So bring your ideas with you, and again, be open-minded. We're here to help you. Mm-hmm. So these are just some of the things you can customize, either custom options or features. Obviously, you got your cathedral ceiling you see here in our Wimberley plan. You got some cabinet colors. These you're looking at are painted in the driftwood model. And then, of course, your master bath. We got a big walk-in shower and deck-mounted soaking tub with cabinet front on it. That's out of our rock wall model home. So
and different heights of counters in the master. Lots of good stuff going on.
That. Now, should we stop for a second and answer some more questions? You want to keep on?
Sure, we can ask questions. We can answer.
All right, y'all keep asking your questions in the chat. We're going to keep answering them. We will. There is a little bit more to the presentation. We want to be sure we get all your questions answered, though, about building on your land.
All right. So Jeff is asking if there's a location where you can see a model of a Gonzalez or a Laporte design. We do not have either one of those as a model. For the Gonzalez, though, we do have that online as a virtual rendering that you can do the full tour of the home and see it, but it's not currently a model.
Yeah.
And then so I was asking, what is the current time frame for building the average size home Tilson builds? And then follow-up question, what's the main material people are choosing for construction?
Yeah, so we're telling folks 12 to 14 months. Now, we are certainly closing houses in faster than that time. We've got houses that are from the time they give us a deposit to the time they close. We have some taking 8 to 10 months, and that's great. It's not necessarily the norm, but we don't think we've seen the end of these supply chain issues. In fact, we know we haven't. It came up just this morning on a meeting that I was on that we have more supply chain issues coming up. And I'm talking about the industry, not just Tilson.
Okay.
So it's not getting better yet. So we're still telling folks 12 to 14 months. Obviously, we're shooting for less than that. Keep in mind, Macias, we don't get paid till the house is finished. So we're putting somebody locked in on a price up here that we don't get paid for till it's done. So if we can do it 8 or 10 months, that's better for us.
Yeah.
But we're going to do it right. That's paramount. And if doing it the right way takes 12 to 14 months, then that's what it takes. Now, that's not construction, mind you. That's from the time that you give the deposit. That's all design, all engineering, septic permitting, development permitting, getting the soil test done, color selection, signing off on a set of plans, and then construction. So construction is about 7 or 8 months of that.
The beauty of built on your lot is if you decided to build on your land, congratulations, you are a developer. You are now a land developer, and we're going to help you navigate that process. So as long as that takes. And then the main material people are choosing for construction, brick, metal, stucco. I mean, really, we're seeing everything at this point. Combination. So it really comes down to personal taste, and it's very different by area.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of board and bat hardware.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of surge in board and bat more than usual, and we're seeing brick become more popular now. Yeah, it has been in the past. It was all stone for a while, and now we're seeing more brick.
Misha. I tried Maisie. I went to the
Misha. Okay.
Yeah, Misha. Yes.
All right. So John is asking, do we use post-tension foundations?
We do use post-tension foundations. Yes.
All right. Elena would like to know, can we build cathedral ceilings on the Magnolia plan, and how much extra would that be?
We can do cathedral ceiling. You're probably somewhere in the $1,500 to $2,000 range on the cathedral ceiling on a family room like in the Magnolia.
Okay. Susan is asking if we can build a well house to match the elevation that she has chosen.
I don't know that we certainly don't have standardized pricing for that, but I'm not going to say it's outside the realm of possibility. We want to get the dimensions of what it's going to look like, and then we could possibly do a pricing request to get that done. Yes.
Okay. Hedy is asking if we need to adjust a utility easement. Is that something that can be discussed during the site evaluation, or does it need to be completed before?
So we can certainly discuss it at the site evaluation. Obviously, we will not be allowed to make any alterations to the utility easement. And I'm not saying that's what you're asking us to do, but yeah, definitely discuss it there. The good part about discussing it there is that we can have the parameters set of kind of where the house is going to go versus where your septic's going to go versus where maybe a detached garage or whatever. And then you can take that to whatever governing authority is on that utility easement. So if it's a utility company, like maybe a power company, let's say they have a 20-foot easement, you can go to them and say, hey, can we get it squeezed down to an 18? Because I'm kind of hurting for space over here. I don't see them get adjusted very often, but it can happen that they do get adjusted. So, but discuss at the site evaluation and then take that. It doesn't have to be completed beforehand.
Okay. Pat is asking, is Tilson doing basements? Knows of several builders that are now offering it.
No, ma'am. Yep. Or sir, I'm sorry. Pat Smith, I don't know, but we are not doing basements. That I do know.
All right. Let's see. Donald has colors and stakeout coming up soon for his Travis C and St. Hedwig. Can we give our opinions about double cabinets that go up to the 9-foot ceiling versus fur down soffits?
Well, Donald, my favorite subject is my opinion. So I will gladly give you my opinion. I mean, I noticed you left out a third option, which is vacant or void space above the cabinet. Actually, what I prefer. only because I like kind of a staggered look on the cabinet, me personally.
And you have sometimes you have the pretty crown that goes on the cabinets. That it's kind of a good.
Yeah.
Good
So I like the big hoods that people are using a lot these days. We offer those through Kent Moore cabinets. I like those. So I like the definition of different things happening. Everybody likes that. To understand that. Obviously, fur down soffits are going to be less expensive. So now we're out of opinions. Now we're into facts. Fur down is less expensive because you're paying for another set of upper cabinets to do the cabinets up to the 9-foot ceiling above. I don't know how much use you're going to get out of them. They're way up there. I mean, you figure they start
it's the
at
wedding presents that you never use.
That's right. So I'm not real big on something that's not practical for me. I'm not big on paying for it if I can't use it on a regular basis. I don't mind paying for nice things, but I want to be able to use them. So, but I mean, there's some people out there that, yes, they are going to have the cabinets above. And
yeah, I mean, I think it comes down to what kind of storage do you need? Personally, I'm not a fan of soffits because I'm not a fan of wasted space. And I'm with Eric. I like the look when you leave it open. If you have enough stuff that you need to put up, if you're putting up the wedding china and, there's things that a lot of stuff that you're only using once a year that you don't mind getting up there to get down. I mean, that could be a good use of space to you, but it's personal opinion.
Yeah. Thanks for asking, Donald.
Yeah, thanks for asking. Jen is asking about fencing. Can that be done or would it need to be done after closing?
I recommend it be done after closing so that it doesn't get torn up. That's the general answer. Plus, a lot of times you'll want to do the landscaping before you do the fencing, although not always, but it is easier to get in and out with like a Bobcat or some type of skid steer. Bobcat's a brand name. Sorry. A skid steer. Guys, we have no sponsors because this is not how we don't monetize this or anything.
No one would sponsor us.
No one would sponsor us.
We are our own sponsor.
So anyway, I recommend it after closing because I always worry about that kind of stuff getting torn up. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Recommendation.
Okay. Penny is asking what kind of options we offer to make a home more green and environmentally friendly.
Well, Penny, we do a lot of stuff already, not the least of which is the energy ratings that we do. So the airtight ceiling that we do, the blower door test, the duct blaster test, a lot of it has to do with making the home efficient from the get-go. Part of that has to do with, obviously trying to use less energy. Not only is that better for the environment, but also it's easier on your pocketbook, so that everybody wins. Except I suppose utility companies, but different subject, different day. However, other things we use that are green, obviously the OSB or oriented strand board, that is considered a green product because it takes pieces of the trees and heats them and presses them together at a high pressure to make for structural integrity. Same thing with a lot of the engineered wood product that we use. So your LVLs that we use to span large distances, the engineered Boise Cascade I-joists that we use, which you can see videos of that. All of those things are engineered wood products that are considered green. They're labeled as green by LEED certification, which is good. Obviously, we
Energy
try to use
appliances.
Energy Star appliances for sure. Water, moisture, those kind of things. Try to use low volume water fixtures, water faucets where possible. And then beyond that, there's other things you can do. Obviously, we do the radiant barrier decking that we do that standard that reduces the amount of heat that comes into your home through the attic. Ridge venting, I really like the ridge venting because it doesn't require power. I'm all about passive things. So ridge vents and soffit vents that combine use for passive attic ventilation. In other words, you don't have to have an electrically powered fan of any kind doing that. So, and LED lights that we do throughout the home, which are very, very, very low wattage, put off very little heat. So those are most of the things we do. Awesome.
Nathan is asking if a concrete driveway is included in the price of the build.
But it depends on where you're building. If you've gotten price, if you look at the pricing on the website, the answer is no. We don't include a concrete driveway in there because we don't know how big of one you need.
Right.
I don't know if you're on a 60-foot wide lot or if you're on 600 acres. So it's not included in there. If you've gone into a design center and kind of gone through some questions, we can do pricing for driveways there. Places like Texas Grand Ranch, where we build on a regular basis, we have pricing already done. A lot of the cities in which we build, it's already priced in. To do some type of two-car off-street parking, which is required in most cities. So that would be priced in that case, yes.
Okay, perfect. Angelica is asking if we allow for a door to the laundry room from the master bathroom.
We do, and if you look at the Wimberley design, it already has it.
Perfect. Alrighty, and then Jeff is curious if shiplap is an option for the interior as well.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You can only fight off the gains so long.
We tried. Lisa is asking, would a 15-foot ranch gate need to be removed for building, or would trucks fit through it?
15 feet is going to be tight. I was looking at this question a while ago. I drew one of my terrible Eric pictures, which I love. So I try to do one of these per Tilson Live, a really terrible hand-drawn sketch. So what will depend is how far off the road the gate is. All right. So if you have the road here and the gate is set far enough back, you're probably going to be okay.
Okay.
The truck has enough room to make a turn with a trailer. So figure like an 18-wheeler carrying lumber or something like that. If this gate is closer to the road and you don't have this big tapered area, then that's going to be a tall order. It could very well get damaged. We'd probably ask you to remove it as long as you have another way to keep the livestock from getting onto the road. You don't want the cows to get loose out here. Cows don't do good out here. Cows do good in here. Another rule of thumb, guys, moving to the country. If you come up to a gate and it's closed and you go through it, close it behind you. This is a rule.
Mm-hmm.
These are things from which we do not deviate. Anyway, all that to say, it's going to really depend. 15 feet's tight. I really like 16 feet, 20 if we can get it. But again, it will really depend on how far off the road the gate is and if we can make a turn without taking out that column that's holding that post that's holding the gate on.
Okay.
Have you ever heard the phrase looking at something like a cow looking at a new gate?
No.
Have you ever seen a cow looking at a new gate? It's like,
I've not.
Okay, it wasn't here yesterday. Anyway.
Okay. So Keaton is asking the difference between board and batten and brick and which is better. Okay, so Keaton, when we're talking about board and batten, we're talking about siding that goes this way instead of this way. So that's what we mean by board and batten. And what Tilson uses is hardy plank, which is actually a cement board. So for insurance purposes, it's actually considered masonry. Brick, we're talking about good full masonry brick. As to which is better, again, I think this is a personal preference. It's what look you like, because as far, at least with our houses, none of that is structural. It's just the outside look. So your brick on your home, your stone on your home is not holding your house up. It's just there for the pretty. So it's really what you prefer.
Great, which is a great segue, in fact, to our next section of our presentation.
Perfect.
It's like you're queuing these people up, Dawn.
I know.
Really good. So stone, brick, and siding. Oh my! This particular home, the Rockwall model, has all of them.
All of it.
We've got stone here. We've got some brick down below on a wainscoting. We've got some board and bat hardy, which is considered a siding. So let's go through and kind of see some of the differences. Here's stone and stucco combination on our Magnolia model home in Katy, Texas. Beautiful, kind of more modern look, but still kind of a craftsman touch to it. And then, of course, this is full board and bat. Everybody knows this plan because Dawn made it famous. Holly Wilson designed this for a customer of ours as a Magnolia C elevation with just a quintessential farmhouse style look of board and bat hardy. You know, the complete hardy system that we use, if your builder will use the complete James Hardy system, they do get a 30-year warranty on it. So, I mean, I think our Acme brick has a 100-year warranty.
101.
Oh, 101. Okay. Somebody had 100, they had to do 101. Yeah. So if you're talking from a longevity standpoint, I mean, they're both going to last a very long time. You do eventually need to paint the hardy plank. Although different parts of the state, it'll vary. I mean, I've seen some that have gone 20, 25 years without painting. It's got low humidity, low moisture, no trees around that are going to, drop pollen on it over the years. And it looks just like it did when we painted it. And we got others, closer to the coast, a lot of trees around, very moist area that they need to be painted a little more frequently. Again, not to maintain the warranty, but really just the way it looks. It's going to look better. So that's really the only advantage that masonry, stone, or brick offers on top of hardy. However, stone and brick are porous, so they can stain. They can stay with mud. They can stay with mildew, just like anything else. So you're going to have to pressure wash it eventually at some point in time. This is a rear elevation of, which plan is this, Dawn?
That's the driftwood.
Driftwood.
One of our most popular porches.
That's right. That's right. And this is actually hiding. A lot of people don't know this in Georgetown. This is hiding our water well that we have in Georgetown. I think we did finally get on city water. We still use the water well for irrigation, though. So anyway,
very nice.
Fun fact for the day. But yeah, what a home looks like from the back. So this obviously has a beautiful cathedral ceiling with our real soffit product on there from wood tone that goes all the way through to the family room that ceiling treatment does. It's really, really pretty. Now, where are we building this thing? Is it going to be urban, suburban, fringe, rural? The reason this will matter is it impacts the appraisal, which we'll talk about here in just a minute.
Mm-hmm.
You're also going to want to locate your deeds. So again, we're talking about building on your land. We need a copy of the deed, your deed, something that says the property is in your name. Consider the value of surrounding homes. We had that come up earlier, I think, by Armando, or about how's that going to determine? Well, they're not going to let you build a super, super high-end home if there aren't other high-end homes around there somewhere. This is if you're borrowing the money. If you're paying cash, you can build on I-45, I'll flag traffic, no problem. But that's a little extreme. I'm not flagging traffic on I-45. But you're not as restricted to the appraisal, whereas if you're getting a loan for it, the lender's going to want to consider the other homes in the area. And the reverse is also true. If you're surrounded by high-end, expensive homes, they're probably not going to let you build a 1,200 square foot two-bedroom house if you're getting a loan. And then, of course, surface terrain, the topography. Get a survey. We'll show you an example here in a minute of a survey, a boundary survey. Find out what the flood zone or floodplain is if you haven't already. Consider the footprint of the home. And finally, but most importantly, title insurance. Do not acquire a piece of property. I don't care if it's being given to you by Mima and Papa. Close at a title company. Let them do title search on it. Make sure that the chain of title is clear because it goes all the way back to before Mima and Papa ever owned it, back to the Spanish land grants in some cases in Texas. So that's important. Mm-hmm. Now, example of a survey. I've got an acre, right? So I have the whole, or 2 acres. I got the whole 2 acres to use. Not exactly.
Right.
So a 2-acre lot or land, and again, this is where our model home in Texas Grand Ranch is built. So this is we were lot 2, block 1, Texas Grand Circle. This is, again, the 2-acre lot, which you see these little dotted lines. So the solid black line is, in fact, the property line. So we own all the way to the solid black line, but the dotted lines are easements or building lines over which we cannot build. So they have a 75-foot front building line, for instance, on this particular lot, and then 20-foot building lines across the side and the rear. Permanent structure, house, garage, outbuilding, pool, cannot be over those building lines. Mm-hmm. So yes, we own all 2 acres, but no, we cannot just put something wherever we want to. Then you'll also see here's a public utility and nature trail easement, another public utility nature trail easement. So again, we've got, of the 2 acres, we've got this kind of dotted line box to work within for our home, garage, in our case, casita. It was plenty for us, but just keep that in mind whenever you're looking at a piece of property. Find out, this is on a survey. It's really important to get a boundary survey with corner pins located and all easements shown. And that's what you're looking at here, all the easements that are on this piece of property. So, Dawn, what are some of the things that someone should consider when they're choosing a custom builder? What if they haven't decided who they're going to use yet?
If you haven't decided who you're going to use, these are some things that you definitely need to be asking questions about and thinking about. The first is the quality of construction and the materials that they use. Make sure that you're looking at homes that they've already built. Do they have models that you can walk through so you can see, are they open about their practices? Can they explain why they use the materials that they use? Look at financing plans and programs. Usually when you're building a custom home, there's going to be some type of construction loan, not with us, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later, but you're going to want to be really clear on how much you're paying for the home, how much interest, how much those kinds of things when you're doing the program. You want to look at the way how they price their homes. Are they giving you an actual cost for your home? Are they giving you kind of a and cost per square foot, which we'll talk about because we don't like that very much. How transparent are they with pricing? Do you have those things that we were talking about before, like allowances and cost overruns? You want to know some about their reputation and also their capacity. How many homes are they building? Are they able to take on more homes right now? And then what are their customers saying about them? You want to know about flexibility. Are they going to let you make all the changes that you want to make to your home plan? What kind of things can you do to change their designs? Experience is a really big one. Not just how long have they been building homes, but how many homes, what experience do they have in the particular area that you're looking to build? The majority of our customers are building in rural areas. And if that's not something that your builder's used to, if it's not an area they're used to building in, things work different out in the country. And you really want somebody who kind of knows what's going on out there. It's very different process than someone who's used to building in tight communities where they have all the control. So ask your builder specifically about their built on your lot experience. Trust and integrity. Really, guys, this is just a gut feeling. If you're talking to somebody and you just don't feel right when you're talking to them, please don't build with them. Like it's not going to get any better. You're going to be with whoever you're choosing to build on your land. You're going to be with them for a long time. We mentioned before, we're looking at 12 to 14 months because we're doing the full land development and we're doing the construction. And then that's also the people who are supporting you once your house is built. So if you're just not feeling it, just no go, we're done. And then references. Do they have customers that you can talk to who can tell you, what the building experience was like?
Like actual customers.
Actual customers who built like real houses, not somebody who left a Google review.
Although that's a start. All right. So Dawn mentioned price per square foot. We get asked all the time, what's your average price per square foot? And I understand. Well, I don't understand. But
it makes sense for all the components of a house.
Yeah, we're conditioned to ask this. Although we're not ever conditioned to ask how much is a car cost per pound or what does a cheeseburger cost per ounce. How much does it cost to cut my hair per? Wait a minute. Anyway,
mine's a lot more than yours.
So these are. It's a question that comes up, and I'm going to show you why we don't. Why we price every home, that specific home, because every home costs different. We're going to do a very simple exercise because of I'm simple. So this is a very small house. It's a 10 foot by 10 foot house. It's quaint, cozy. You cannot social distance in it, but it's still a house. 10 by 10 square. And then another house right beside it, you can social distance in, but it's not very fun to live on. So 2 foot by 50 foot. Now, these are simple examples. How many square feet are these buildings? So they're both 100 square feet. Makes sense. All right. So now the question is, all right, well, theoretically, if price per square foot were a thing, they should cost the same. The builder would tell you, oh, okay, well, I charge $100 per square foot. And so, okay, cool. They cost the same then. But they can't cost the same. And here's why. The first example we have, Dawn, how many lineal feet is the 10 by 10 square house?
40.
All right. So we got 40 lineal feet on the first one. Now, this one's a little difficult. This one's harder. On the second example, how many lineal feet of wall do we have?
Eric's picking on me, folks, because I typoed when I presented this. So it's 104 because you have two sides of 2 and two sides of 3.
Nailed it. All right. So the point is, and Don's right when she built this slide, and that is on the second example, even though it's 100 square feet, you have at least 2.5 times the amount of materials and labor just in the walls. We haven't even talked about what kind of cabinets, what kind of countertops, what kind of floor coverings, what kind of light fixtures, what kind of roof we're doing, how high the ceilings are. None of that stuff has come up yet.
And we're talking all right angles.
Yeah, we're talking all right angles here, and we're talking 4 corners, which we don't have any houses that look like this. So my point is these two houses cannot cost the same price per square foot. It's not possible because the one on the right, it has 2.5 more times lumber, sheetrock, whatever kind of veneer you're doing on the outside, insulation, man hours. So be very, very leery of builders that will fire from the hip and quote you a price per square foot because they're doing one of two things. They're either quoting you the price per square foot of this one, even if and then you're going to buy this one, you're going to be very upset when they quote you the actual price. Or worse, they're quoting you the price of this one. And even if they only build you this one, they're getting paid for this one in case you pick it. Or even worse than that, they're quoting you the price per square foot of something in the middle that's going to be wrong no matter what, which one you choose. So
another trick, if we added a porch to one of our rectangles, they're including, are they including the porch in the square footage that they're calculating their cost per square foot on?
So be very leery. I mean, I would not recommend you make a decision based on a price per square foot. I would submit to you it's not even a good basis to start the conversation on. Obviously, you can figure it. Once we give you a price, you have the square footage, you can calculate it out, but it doesn't tell the whole story. So be very, very careful, because even in a very simple example, you can see how out of whack price per square foot can really get. So our buyers are smarter than that. You guys on here watching are smarter than that. That's why you're watching, is so you can get smart. So pricing contract, but we're going to move on. I'm going to go ahead and through the presentation, Don, then we'll do questions that way because we're against it. So there are some different methods. There's cost plus. A lot of really high-end custom homes are built this way. You and the builder agree on a agreed upon profit margin for that builder, and it's going to cost whatever it costs, and you're paying his profit on top of that. That is a very expensive way to build a home, but it's legal, and a lot of folks do it. Another one is cost overruns and allowances. We see most custom builders work with allowances. The problem is most home buyers, consumers, they have regular jobs and they don't know what things really ought to cost from an allowance standpoint. Like, how far does a $4,000 countertop allowance go? It goes.
What is the price of lumber?
Yeah, what is the price of lumber? Thank you very much. Yeah, so these are things I would not recommend you do it based on allowances, because again, the odds of you guessing correctly are very, very low. The odds of the builder guessing correctly are very, very low. What you want is a true fixed upfront contract price that all your amenities, extras, whatever. So you got the included features of the plan, and then that are very clear, documented, and then you have a line item on everything that you add. These countertops, these cabinets, these light fixtures, these plumbing fixtures, delete this, credit that, all the way down, and you've got a kind of a quote that's got the upfront contract price. And then the next step. Now, see, again, we still haven't started construction. So we go through the contract, the agreement, what your responsibilities are as the landowner, as the homeowner, and what our responsibilities are as the contractor. You're going to approve a full set of plans like you spoke about earlier. Obviously, you shouldn't have any changes made after you approve those plans. That's the goal. And then review all your colors, sign off on those, and then you roll. How are we going to finance this thing? Are you going to pay cash? Do you have to get a construction loan? Are you going to use Tilson's EasyBuy program, which again is no construction loan whatsoever? So we build every house that we build for customers out of our own back pocket, and we do not get paid till that house is completely finished and they've done their walkthrough and they're happy with everything, and then move in. So there's no draw schedule coming out. There's no interest coming out. There's no interest carry. You don't close up front and then get hit with a big interest payment at closing on your permanent loan. You get approved for the permanent loan up front, and the appraisal is done up front. So before we ever drive a nail if you're overbuilding, underbuilding, or building just right for a particular area. Dawn, you want to walk through this with folks?
Yeah, this is just, some people are confused when we start talking about a construction loan. So this is just an explanation of what that is. For clarity, we don't deal with them, but just to give you some information about what that's going to look like when you are talking to other builders, because we're the only builder that I know of that doesn't do this. A construction loan is a short-term variable interest loan. It's usually 1% to 2% above whatever the current mortgage rate is. It's going to require that you put in some hard equity, so high down payment. Usually it's around 20%. And it's just lasting the time of construction. Usually these start about 4 weeks after you would sign the contract with the builder. And at that point, you're going to take what they call a draw. There's a draw schedule, and the builder is getting paid a certain amount at different phases. And once that first payment is taken and you give that money to the builder, the the interest meter starts running. So you've got interest. Sometimes you're paying it during the build. Sometimes it's just accruing and it's rolling into your final mortgage, but there are costs associated with that construction loan that are happening over time. So when you're hearing people talk about in-house financing or one-time close or pay way later, those types of things, this is what's behind that. You've got interest going all during the build.
what it should say is pay way more way later. That's
yes, pay way more way later.
Looking at, but anyway,
and they have no idea how much you're going to pay later, because the amount that you're paying in interest depends upon how much draw is taken, when they're taken, how long it takes to build your home. If your interest rate's variable, so it could go up. So it's really hard to know how much everything's going to cost you.
And folks, there's nothing, don't misunderstand us. There's nothing illegal or unethical or anything about a construction loan. Like, this is how 99.9% of custom homes are built. It's just not a real good way to know how much you're going to spend. This is how most commercial buildings are built. That's why they require so much more down, as the bank is not being guaranteed a completed product. Banks don't like, the only thing hard to sell than a finished home is an unfinished home. So they don't like it not knowing it's going to get done. The other thing, though, it is telling you, this is kind of more of a just in the back of your mind thing to think about. If they don't have the money to build this house and get paid at the end, how close are they to not having enough money to finish it? Like, are you? I mean, I'm not saying all builders who do construction loans are close to going broke. That's not true, and it's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that what they are telling you is they don't have the financial wherewithal to build this home and get paid at the end. Right. Or if they do, they're not willing to risk it on you. So that's something to consider when you're talking. These are just things to consider. Right. Where in Tilson, we're going to build this house completely finished, and we're not going to get paid till it's done.
And it's also something to consider, trying to get an understanding of how much cash you're putting down for your down payment and how much you're going to be spending on interest, because that's on top of whatever price they quoted you for the house.
Absolutely. So anyway, again, with ours, you get 10% equity into the deal. So that's the price of the land, the value of the land plus the value of the home. As long as you have 10% of that number into the deal, Tilson's not going to require any kind of construction loan, draw payments, monthly payments, interest accruing. None of that stuff is happening. You get more money in your pocket and the peace of mind knowing that we're financially sound enough to finish this thing. So, and of course, all you're getting approved for is the permanent loan, which you would ordinarily have to have anyway if it's a resale or a home being built. So we can do TexVet, VA, FHA, conventional. Definitely recommend you shop for the best deal. Although right now conventional is the best thing going.
Absolutely.
Possibly Texas Vet, depends on the program, but credit scores do vary. We talk about your gross monthly income. We have a whole nother video on financing. It's got to be over here by the deer. That's where the video is going to be. Anyway, your equity helps. Obviously here, we're going to get an upfront appraisal. Actually, your lender is before we ever start construction. And so we'll know exactly what your equity position is before we ever drive a nail. And then, we have a couple of preferred lenders we use. We don't have nothing to gain financially from them. We got no skin in the game with them. We're not business partners. There's no affiliated business agreement. They just work a lot better with rural customers building on their land, and it's a smoother process. So think about. We then go out to your site, prepare for construction, get all of our permits, all of our architect control or property owners association approval, establish all-weather access to the site, get utilities in place, and then it's off to the races. So we want to be sure we have good access like we have here, a nice all-weather drive. There's a little porta-can there ready to go. Obviously, the site for the home. We got power from a transformer coming over here, and we're ready to go. And that's it. Now we have questions.
We do. Sure, we have lots of questions. All right. David is asking if he can get an elevation certificate so I can build a pole barn. He wants it to be level and adjacent to the future house pad. And would we accept the elevation certificate and deduct that?
So yeah, David, it's going to depend on what the county requires. So if the county requires an elevation certificate, then yeah, that'll do you good. But can I get an elevation so that I can build a pole barn? I mean, sure. Yeah. They're going to tell you how many feet above base flood the home has to be if it's in a flood zone, which is really the only time you would be having anything to do with an elevation certificate. And we don't charge for them already. Like, we don't build in the price of the house, so there would be no deduction for that, because we don't include an elevation certificate in our contracts typically, because not everybody's building in a floodplain, so not everybody needs them.
Okay. All right. John is asking if Tilson handles all utilities like a septic tank.
Sure do.
All right. Denise wants to know if we can wire for an alarm system and what the approximate cost would be.
We can. We don't have a set price because it varies wildly across the state. So we'd have to get exactly where you're building and get an inquiry done with a low voltage company on getting an alarm system done. Although these days it's all wireless anyway. I wouldn't I probably wouldn't pay to have an alarm system put in, honestly, for me these days. I'd put Ring or one of those on there, and probably a couple of wildlife game cams up by the gate that are wireless, by the way. We'll send little alerts to your phone, and you're
off
good.
to the races.
Yeah.
John is also asking about landscaping, if we can handle that.
Depends on where you're building, John. Most places we actually don't, because of most of our customers, 91% of what we build is rural. So it just depends. Drainage for sure. We're going to take care of that. We make sure that we establish positive drainage all the way around the home. That's included. The final grade, what we call a final grade, is included, of course. But sod and irrigation are not, except in some select areas that we have it. We do have it priced in. So your Texas Grand Ranch, Republic Grand Ranch, some of those kind of places. Some cities that require the sod, we do have it priced in there in those places. So get with your sales consultant, and they can let you know if it is or not.
Okay. Misha is asking, what is a feature buyers say they wish they had thought of requesting? Ooh, that's a good one.
It's a great one. I think someone even said, that's a good question.
Yeah.
So that's actually one I would invite past customers of Tilson to jump in on. I will tell you, as a past customer of Tilson, one thing I wish I would have done, one feature, not necessarily a feature really, but I wish I would have made my master bedroom a little bit bigger. That was one thing. It happened to be, it was a Preston. It was the design that I did. And it was, I think it's the dimensions, it's crazy wide. It's like 18 feet wide, but 13-10 deep. I wish I'd have made it probably 15 or 15 and a half feet deep. That'd be the only thing there. But basically what I'm saying is there's always going to be something. Even if you do it for a living, there's always going to be something that they would.
Yeah.
A lot of people that wish they would have done more about like little cabinet features. I guess that if we had to list one thing that comes up on these, I think your tilt-out trays or your pull-out trays or your trash can pull-outs or all the little knickknacks that you can do on cabinets these days, that's definitely one. I see someone saying pot fillers. Pot fillers.
Yeah, we also hear some on utility rooms. A lot of people forget if they have the front load washer that you need to leave room for that washer, the washing machine door to be open all the time. So some people really want to make their utility room wider. To do that. And one thing I've seen a lot of our customers do that I think is incredibly clever is on the back of the garage. We have a lot of customers who will actually just put a utility garage door on the back. So when they're getting out the toys and the lawnmowers, you don't have to, either try to get by your car or pull the cars out to get all the toys out. I think that's super smart that we see a lot of people do.
Very good.
Let's see. Nina is saying, my husband and I can't decide which home plan we want to build on our property. All the Tilson homes that we see on YouTube are beautiful. We'll definitely be a Tilson homeowner hopefully soon. Well, yay. Well, come on in and we'll help you. We'll help you pick one out. Your
husband's a lucky man. I'll just say that. The fact that he has that much of a say is impressive. Good for you. Secret to a happy marriage. You're a good person, Nina.
Good job. All right. Liz is saying we're working on our to-do list provided at Stakeout. This morning we learned our HOA will not let us do tree removal construction drive until we submit a site plan. When in the process is the site plan provided by Tilson?
Yeah, this is a tough one because now we're in a chicken and egg scenario. They want us to draw this site plan telling exactly where everything's going to go when the property may be too thick for us to do that. I wasn't obviously at your site evaluation, Liz, so I don't know how much we were able to do. One question to ask them is if they will allow it, if it's super, super thick, if they'll allow it to at least be underbrushed. Like, could we get a contractor in there with a hydro axe or something that would let us underbrush where you could at least walk through the trees? I understand they don't want builders going in and just acing the
clear
whole
cutting. Yeah,
I get that. And I'm with them. I think it looks terrible. But it's really difficult to place a home on a site, not without, if it's just brush and thicket and briars. So if we were able to get in and get some kind of deal done, then yeah, we'll if it's that situation, we can get our design and drafting department to prepare a site plan. We're accustomed to working in subdivisions or architecture control committees that do require that. So that's not foreign to us. Just let your consultant know so that they can request that from our design and drafting department. And luckily it is our own in-house design and drafting department, so we can get that done.
Okay, perfect. Jeff is just sharing part of our price per square foot discussion that he and his wife chose Tilson for quality, ease to work with, and being able to see where their money is going. The Canyon C is planned to begin this month in Kerr County, and every other builder only wanted to talk about cost per square foot and never exactly what that home was going to cost. So.
Oh, nice. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate that.
We have a question about how does allowances work with closing costs? He's trying to get one now.
Yeah, so luckily, closing costs is one of those things that your lender not only can get very spot on, but actually are required by law to get very, very accurate on. I mean, it's got to be within, I think, the hundreds of dollars, depending on the amount, but for sure within $1,000, they got to get you pretty spot on. So that's how it will work is we find out exactly from your lender what your estimated closing costs are going to be, and we just include that as an allowance for closing costs into the contract. So that's a pretty easy one.
All right. And Anthony is asking, does Tilson have building methods to help fight off termites in rural places?
Oh, you have hit a button, Anthony. I have a really, really good one. So most often termites occur when they have nowhere else to go. So for instance, if I'm in a production subdivision and I used to live in a wooded area, I'm an insect. Okay. I'm a termite. And this all used to be woods. And now somebody came in and clear cut everything, and XYZ developers pushing in roads and putting in new roads and sewer system and electrical system and fiber and all this wonderful, great stuff. And Joe Bob Elementary is going to be over here, and that's great. So now I'm still hungry. I'm still a termite. Only problem is now all the trees that I used to eat are not here. So my options are limited. So I got to go to a house to get something to eat. So my first rule, Anthony, to fight termites in rural places is just don't clear all your trees. Insects are pretty simple critters. They're going to go the path of least resistance like most other critters. So if their options are, 3 acres of woods or 103 acres of woods over here somewhere, or this brand new home over here that's sitting on slab that I have to somehow find my way up through PVC plumbing pipe, through compacted fill, squeeze my way through concrete, through 6 mil polyethylene vapor barrier, up this plastic pipe, which by the way is poisoned. We spray every plumbing penetration with 24 inches of bore care treatment to kill termites. So some guys are going to get sacrificed on their way up. And then if I have to chew through treated toe plate, because it's also treated for termites, so more people are going to die, or not people, termites. So anyway, all that, my point is, just don't clear cut everything, and you're going to be okay. We do use bore care treatment on the top 24 inches all the way around the exterior perimeter. It's on the inside of the outside wall, and then on every plumbing penetration, we spray up 24 inches. The toe plates itself are treated, so we take those precautions already. But the biggest thing is, if you're building out in the country, you're probably going to be okay.
Give them something else to eat.
Leave the termites some options, and you'll be good.
All right, perfect. David is asking.
Anymore. I'm not termite anymore. I'm Eric again.
You're Eric again? Okay, perfect. So David, who was asking us before about if he could give his elevation certificate, same thing on a soil investigation.
Soil test. So you can. I don't know if people doing geotechnical investigations for barns, for pole barns. I personally don't think it's necessary. If you do, I understand. If it gives you that peace of mind, cool. And yes, if you were to have a geotechnical investigation done, we'd want to give that to our engineer, make sure it's comprehensive enough for them. And then there's a chance that we could credit that back to you, because we do have a geotechnical investigation including the price of every home, but we would need to see it and make sure that it's acceptable to our engineer, because they actually join us in the 10-year structural warranty. So they get final say on whether the geotech is in fact comprehensive and acceptable enough for them or not.
They're also probably going to have questions about whether you've done anything else to the site since that geotechnical investigation happened. Like if you've brought in a lot of new soil, they're going to want to kind of look at that too.
Yep. Good question though, David. Great question.
Yeah, great question. John is asking if we can drill water wells along with the new house.
We can certainly get bids for it. Some areas we can, some areas we don't or can't. But yeah, tell us exactly where you're building, and we can certainly try and help find contractors.
Okay. And we have someone closing on an Angelina soon. They're currently building their Angelina project to close at the end of February. When does the final walkthrough with the homeowners usually happen?
So the final walkthrough actually happens very, very close to closing. It happens usually within days of closing, because we're kind of working right up there to the end. There's be things that doesn't mean that's the only time your builder is looking at walkthrough items. So your builder is doing stuff, making his own punch list all the way up to the end. And then he'll make a punch list with you on the walkthrough. I mean, the ideal situation is on the walkthrough, there's nothing left. it's just a homeowner orientation, but there's going to be things that you see and find that need to be touched up. Cool with us. We absolutely want that for you and your family. So it's typically within days of closing, but you can contact your superintendent, your project manager, and they will be glad to give you some kind of a better time frame than that.
Perfect. We have a question if we do pot fillers, and we do. And we also do floor plugs.
I think this person might have been answering what are some of the features?
Oh, features. Yes. Sorry. Yes. Those are also very good. Yes. Floor plugs, definitely. Let's see. Mike, my wife and I are going to build soon in the PK area where only electricity and water are available. There's no gas utility available, so we'd like to install LP gas tank. How many customers do full electric versus electric and gas?
That's a great question. Level Possum Kingdom, another area we do know. So certainly the majority of what we do is all electric. These days, with as high efficient as the heat pump air conditioning systems are, we have less and less and less people opting for gas. Also, LP gas is a little more volatile. Apparently hard to get. Right now, it's hard to get. Again, this is last week of January 2021. A lot of indoor dining restrictions, which are now magically being lifted, of course. But up until this point, in places like New York, Seattle, you can only eat outside. Right. And they were putting everybody under these big propane heaters, and evidently you can't get propane, at least up there. So anyway, there's a short supply on propane. It doesn't happen normally, but majority of our customers, definitely do all electric. If I had to put a number on it, I'd probably say 70-30. So 70% are doing all electric, 30% are doing some type of gas, whether natural gas or propane, mostly propane.
Okay. Let's see. Jim Bob is building in the Granbury area. How thick is the foam insulation that will be in the attic roof area?
Great question, Tex and Jim Bob. So it's actually going to be 5.5 inches. It's going to be just the backside of those rafters that are sealed, which ends up being like an R19 because it's spray foam. Now, the beauty is you're not doing spray foam for the thickness of insulation. You're doing spray foam, and we're doing spray foam there to combat air changes per hour, to prevent leakage of the hot and or cold air that you're paying for getting out of the home. So that you're going to get, it's 5.5 inch thick because it's the backside, it's 3.5 inch in your walls. But the spray foam offers so many more advantages than just its thickness. It has to do with how tightly it seals up the home. Right. Great question.
Perfect. And we have a question on fencing my land. Should I leave a portion of the property unfenced to allow large vehicles access when Tilson is beginning to build?
Yeah, I mean, it has to be a large portion, but yeah, certainly at least 20 feet or so. We need to be able to get in and out, some type of a gate. I like 2 gates that come together for construction. Give us 30, 2 15-foot gates or 2 16-foot gates. Give us 30, 32 feet that can open up. Because it's not just about getting materials delivered in there, but even when we're going to haul trash out, it's nice to be able to get a skid steer in there and get that material loaded into a dumpable dumpster and haul it off out of our trash bin. So great question. And yeah, use part of it unfenced, or even if you have to fence it for livestock, use a double gate and you'll be great. Okay.
All right. And Lisa's asking if we can help with water systems filtration from well water.
We can. We do a lot of stub outs for or rough ends. I'm sorry, for water softeners. We do a lot of that. I would definitely talk to your local water well provider, find out what type of filtration has been needed on other customers or clients of theirs, and use that to go from. It's not something we typically get into real closely because it's done after closing and move in. But yeah, we have customers that put pretty sophisticated filtration system, reverse osmosis systems on their homes, but definitely talk to your local water well provider.
Okay. And then Armand is asking if Tilson has 3D walkthrough features for floor plans. Yes, we do. For all of our models, we use a Matterport. Is a common real estate kind of 3D tour that you can use. And actually, if you have a Google Cardboard, you can do virtual reality with all of our Matterports. And then we have that also on a few of our non-model homes. So we've gone into some customer homes and done that as well. And then we also have on some of our newer homes kind of a virtual rendering version with a 3D walkthrough.
3D walkthrough.
That you can look at. And then Nathan is asking our opinion on a regular water heater versus a tankless water heater.
Specific to electric, I see.
Specific to electric, yes.
Yeah, so because that changes the ball game.
Oh, okay.
I'm good on tankless water heaters that are gas. I think they're great, good product. Do you have to have them? No, but if you're going to have one, make it gas.
Mm-hmm.
If you want electric tankless water heater, my opinion, they're not there yet. Most of them are rated, most of them, not all, but most of them that are affordable wise are at like 7 gallons per minute at 107 degrees, which that doesn't mean a whole lot to anybody. But let's say if you go look at your water heater right now, the setting on it is probably close to like 115 to 120 degrees is what it's set on. Because you mix that with some cold water when you get a shower, and that's how you get comfortable. So 107 degrees is not typically you're like a hot tub, a spa that you get into is 104. Is where they kind of max out at. So if what we're saying is if your electric tankless water heater, if you're going, you're going to have it almost all the way on hot, or at least most of the way on hot, and it's 7 gallons per minute, which means if you have more than one person doing that, it's not going to get cold necessarily, but your pressure is going to go down.
Okay.
We use pressure balance valves, so the cold and the hot are mixing at the same gallons per minute. So you don't have that. So when flush a commode, you get scalded like that. That's all gone these days. I'm not against the code. So you're going to
comes only.
Yeah, you're going to have. I would be able to wash my hair no problem. Dawn would have a tough time. That's what it's going to kind of feel like. The best way I can kind of describe it is you're not going to get that good water pressure because you're only getting 7 gallons per minute. So if you're doing a load of laundry or running the dishwasher and someone's trying to get a shower at the same time, you might have a struggle. Plus, they use a tremendous amount of electricity. We've had some power companies that make a step up to a 320 amp service from a 200 amp service if you're using a tankless electric water heater.
Oh yeah, that would.
Because they are a massive element, and they have to be because water is moving through a relatively small area. Something about probably the size of just a human torso is about how big a tankless water heater is. So that water is moving through there pretty quickly. So it has to be kind of superheated. Gas can do that a lot more efficiently than electricity.
That makes sense.
For now. I'm sure Elon Musk will fix that in the not too distant future.
Well, he's coming. So
next on this list, I'm sure, tankless water heaters.
All right. And this was one Keaton had actually asked earlier and got lost in all of our, where are you? Keaton's asking if we give a military or law enforcement discount.
All right. So thanks for asking, Keaton. I'd love to address this question. We get this question from time to time. So what we've decided, the short answer is no, sir, we do not. But it has nothing to do with how much we appreciate or not someone's service. We very much appreciate people's service. What we've chosen, and this is as a family, as a board, is that we would rather make a huge life-changing impact for someone who is wounded in battle. So there's 2 charities that we support pretty regularly. That is Operation Finally Home and Houston Home Aid. They're very different. Houston Home Aid is kind of like a women's recovery, battered women's, but specific to this is Operation Finally Home. So we partner up with Operation Finally Home. That is a fantastic nonprofit that builds mortgage-free homes for wounded veterans and their families. And again, the logic simply being that, okay, we could either make little bitty tiny discounts for folks that may or may not help them out, or we can take what those dollars would be, and when we're able to truly make a difference in someone's life and build a completely mortgage-free home for someone, and make a big splash for someone who couldn't do that otherwise. So anyway, that's the decision that we've made. We feel like it's pretty well received among veterans that we've spoken to, that are customers of ours. And but hopefully that helps answer your question, Keaton. Thanks for asking, and thanks for your service.
Thank you. Let's see. Callie is asking which of our floor plans has the tallest family room windows?
I don't know offhand. I mean, we have a lot. We do a lot that have 7-foot tall windows. We can do 7-footers and pretty well all of them. We have some that have the 7-foot windows within transoms above. Yeah. So, I mean, your driftwood, your LaSalle, a lot of those are going to have the Frio has 6-foot by 6'6" windows. So just big, giant plate glass windows. But as far as tallest, I 7 foot's probably about as tall as we go. Every now and then you might get an 8-footer. I think the Preston, if you do it on a race plate, it'll have an 8-foot ceiling. 8-foot window in the front. So I know we can do 8-footers, but they do have to be tempered at that size. I think 7-footers have to be tempered as well.
Okay. Well, we are winding down on questions, guys. So last call to get yours in. Mark is asking if Tilson vibrates the slab while bringing in the concrete.
Dawn, do we vibrate the slab when we're doing the concrete?
Dude, they walk around these little things that go like this.
That's
and we
right.
have a video. We have a
How
video.
do you know that? How do you know that we do that?
That's the technical term, little thing that goes like this.
That's perfect.
Because we have a new foundation video that we will be launching this week.
It's going to be over here.
It's going to be somewhere. I don't know.
Reference in here.
We got to figure out our points at some point.
Yeah.
We'll get good at this, guys. So yeah, we have a new foundation video that actually walks you through that whole process that we'll be launching soon.
Yep.
And then Jennifer Hoover is giving a shout out to Darla and Logan building her Breckenridge in Tarrant County.
Beautiful.
That is all the questions I have, folks.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you, Dawn, for doing this. This was
absolutely. Thank you, Eric.
No problem.
Always fun to hang out with you on a Tuesday.
Likewise. So thank y'all so much for doing this. We appreciate your questions. Obviously, you can keep reaching out to us on various channels. We have our YouTube channel, Instagram, Facebook, obviously the Tilson website, tilsonhomes.com. We have 11 design center locations that are open 7 days a week, Monday through Saturday, 10 to 6, Sundays, noon to 6. Schedule an appointment. We'd love to sit down and have a chat with you about what you're planning on doing. And of course, we soon to make you part of the Tilson family. Till next time, guys. We'll see you.